Hello, this is Dale Matthews. This is the Dale and Mike Inside News Show, and joining me is Mike.
Imagine that, and imagine me saying words with out making sounds, and that's
Right.
you don't have to imagine that because you just saw it.
Or didn't hear it. Yes.
That's why I said, yeah, right, yes, okay.
It reminds me of Judy Aarons getting up at the weekly business session. She's trying to hold up a sign, and they indicated to her afterwards, well, you can just say it. You can't say if you have no audio. Well, you can say it, but no one will know. Her
Yeah,
mouth will just be moving. She wanted to hold up a sign saying, if you have trouble with the audio, here's the number to call. As soon
right.
as Keith saw that sign, boy, that was it. Judy wasn't going to be allowed to say anything. Keith, the message still wouldn't get across to them if they can't hear it. Whatever.
Well, and then of course, Judy could spend a few days learning sign language,
Yeah,
to.
but then she'd have to teach it to everybody else, and how's she going to teach them sign language when they can't hear her?
That's a really good point, Dale, and that's the kind of world class analysis you get on this show.
That's
You know,
right.
I wasn't able to throw that that curveball past Dale. He's like, hey, wait a minute, they don't know sign language either, you moron.
No, no, I would never call you that in public. So,
Right.
what we've decided to do on Saturdays now, for the foreseeable future, as far as I can foresee the future, this is what we're going to do, and that'll last until the levy probably, and until the levy doesn't pass, and we're going to play. We've done 437. How many ads have we done, Mike? What's that last
Uh,
number?
432.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Yes.
432 different radio ads. We run them on KMED. KMED has a streaming session, which means, see, most people, not everybody, but most people in Josephine County cannot hear the AM or especially the FM broadcasts from over the mountain into Medford. And they usually can't hear ours. So most people in Josephine County listen online. So what we've done is we've taken our meager resources and we put them into 15-second ads that run on KMED on the streaming sessions, the ones that are on the internet. So you could potentially listen to KMED. Plus, we carry it on our on the cover page of our website. We carry KMED's show, the Bill Meyer Show, 3 hours worth. Plus, also, just in case you didn't know, we also carry the Medford City Council meeting, but we're not news. We carry the Grants Pass City Council meeting, but we're not news. We carry the Illinois Valley Cave Junction City Council meeting, still not news. We carry the Jackson County meeting, not news. And we carry the Josephine County meeting so that you can listen to these live when they're available live, or listen to them afterwards in case you are missing any news. So we are your source for news, although, did I mention we're not news, according to the three commissioners. Not news of any kind. KRRM is news, and they don't run news, but we're not. Whatever. Anyway, I'll tell that to the 212,000 views that we have at this point. Where was I? Well, I think I was
Well, you were
criticizing the
talking
daily.
about the commercials that you
Yes. I thought I was criticizing the
running on
daily.
KMED.
Okay. All right. So,
Well, I'm wondering. So when is the product going to start moving here? I've got a whole stack of widgets here that I'm trying to sell, and you've been advertising them on KMED for who
2
knows
years.
how long.
Right.
2 years, and I haven't sold a single widget yet.
Here's the oddest thing about this, except for Mike. The oddest thing about this is we're not selling anything, and we have a non-commercial website. So why would we be putting up commercials, 6 new commercials every week that are running all the time, 50 times? So why would we do that? We're doing it for
Hmm.
just one reason, because we're hoping, even in a commercial format, on a commercial station for a non-commercial outfit, that we would get some news across to people that would just happen to listen to this and go, really? That's what they did? They're going to sign a contract with someone that's going to put code words in there that even they don't know, and they're going to sign for that? You know, it's said that many, especially younger people, get their news from comedy shows. Well, we think of ourselves sometimes as a comedy show. And so if we can communicate to anybody using whatever format, and if it's in news, if it's in commercials that are running on a news chat station, okay, at least little bits and pieces of the news are getting across, and I've gotten pretty good, you wouldn't believe this, at saying things in 15 seconds. Of course, last night it took me an hour and a half, but yes, I can say a couple of things in 15 seconds. I record the ads.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, good comment. Thank you for that, Mike. And so for
Yes. No
more
problem.
analysis of my comments, back to Mike.
Yes.
Thank you
Yes.
very much, Mike. Yes, 2 yeses. Oh, good, good.
Two
Okay.
yeses.
So here's
One more yes, and you're going to Hollywood.
these ads always have something somewhat in common, and the voicing characteristics, and the pace of them, and some use of repetition, and but I try to make them a little bit different. And the reason we do 6 of them, and the radio station guy said, "Really? That's crazy. Nobody does that." And I said, "Well, we don't want to have the same thing over and over and over again. And when people listen, hey, I've heard that. Oh, that's a little different." And so that's why there's 6 different ones every week. So go ahead and play that first one, then we'll talk about the content. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay.
This is Dale Matthews, editor of BadCounty.com. Keith Heck claimed again last week that the commissioners had absolutely no role in the startup of this new levy. But we have the video recording that proves that is absolutely not true. Boy, do we get in trouble when we prove that they're lying to us again.
Now, Mike, why don't you tell everybody why I said, boy, do we get in trouble? What does that mean?
I don't know. Did somebody take you behind the woodshed or something? I have evaded punishment so far.
Yeah, well, I do get in some kind of trouble. Yeah, well, here's Keith Heck. And he's wagging his finger. I will not tolerate this kind of stuff. You know, he had said, well, this is a perfect example. He had said that, the commissioners, as everybody knows, the commissioners have had no role in this levy, not at all. We don't have anything to do with it. And I chuckled silently to myself. He called it, what did he call it?
Chortling.
I chortled. Sounds like I've swallowed a cherry or something, but I chortled. But you couldn't hear what I was doing. But they're always looking at me. This is so strange. If we mean absolutely nothing, and 212,000 views account to nothing, and as Keith Heck has said in the past, nobody watches BadCounty.com, and as Cheryl Walker had said, people are just repulsed by BadCounty.com. Everybody says so. Well, if that's the case, 1, why are you watching this? And 2, I don't think that that's the case. I think they're just a little bit afraid of us, perhaps. Certainly not of the Courier, not of KJO. Go ahead, Mike. You take it over.
I don't think there's any question that they don't want you to say whatever stupid thing they just did. And so, yeah, that's their problem with BadCounty.com. That's why Cheryl doesn't want she doesn't want to be on BadCounty.com, apparently. Keith, I think, secretly wants to be on BadCounty.com. There's no other explanation because he keeps doing stuff. And I expect we're going to have a series of, Keith Heck drops another, authoritarian bomb on somebody, and I think that's going to be a weekly feature.
He just can't help himself. I even had Bill Meyer at KMED say to me the other day, he said, It started off with this thing where he was criticizing Judy Aarons, and he said it started off where it almost sounded like it made sense, but he couldn't stop himself. He just kept going, and you're going, Keith, stop, stop. We've got a couple friends like that. They'll get up and they'll say something, oh, good point, and then they'll say, and that's because the worldwide communist conspiracy. Oh, please, no, don't say that.
Yes.
It's just because everybody has a knee-jerk reaction to that. Don't say that. Just make your point. You're making lots of sense. And that's because then I have 5 million hits a day. Oh, Dave, no, don't say that, because nobody believes you.
Well,
Dave.
you know what? It's funny because I used to be the call screener on Michael Savage's program, and we would get people calling in all the time, and their goal was to get on the air. And then change to whatever the real reason why they called in. And at that time, there was a guy who was calling up and wanting to promote his 9/11 Truther website. And so he would call and have a perfectly logical sounding on-topic argument, and I go, yeah, this sounds great. I'm going to put this guy at the top of the list. And then, of course, after a while, I started recognizing the guy's voice when he called. So, but yeah.
Right. Well, we were accused for a while, for about a year, of these folks come to this weekly business session just because they're trying to use the cameras to communicate with people. You think? Okay, but they said... They said also, well, they're just craving publicity. And then they stopped saying that, because when Cheryl Walker first got here, and when Simon Hare was here, they cut off all the cameras altogether. See, we had just finished doing the volunteer work to run the thing, and once we weren't volunteering anymore, they really didn't have anybody to do it, and they just cut it all off. Plus, Simon was pretty bummed about the fact that he kept appearing on, and people kept seeing him, and he kept getting all this feedback from people saying, what are you saying? His supporters were saying that. So he wanted to cut it all off. And the Courier was, oh, it's a waste of time. Hey, buddy, if somebody just wants to watch TV, who are you to say it's a waste of time? You're a newspaper. Really, you're going to say something is a waste of time? Anyway, they said, oh, it's a waste of time. You're wasting everybody's time. How can we be wasting? Well, don't get me started on the Courier. Stop.
Well, I would imagine that after a while, they would, people would start to wonder, how come I didn't read anything? This looks, wow, I can't believe what he just said. How come I'm not reading about this in the paper?
That's the problem. That's the real problem. Because, see, there's no filter. The commissioners are saying something, even if it was just the commissioners, and no one else got a chance to say something. The commissioners are saying it without the filter. I'm not making this up, of the newspaper, because the newspaper, very much like the minutes are kept for meetings now, they go back through and they look at it and they go, oh, no, I said that. No, I don't want that in the minutes. Really? These are the official minutes. Okay, so the Courier does that as well. Remember the story where Mark Van Holly was saying, I wanted to say that I'm going to target contacting businesses. So the way that Jim Moore of the Daily Courier wrote it up is Mark Van Holly agreed to actually visit businesses and contact businesses. No, he agreed to target doing them, which means he's going to try to do it. But it doesn't mean that he's going to actually do it. Where does word actually come from? This is Jim Moore inserting himself into the story to try to make you feel a little bit better, I guess, or tout some party line or something. And it's not Democrats and Republicans. It's the good old boys party. Go ahead.
It's very, very confusing why he would do this, because either he's not catching it and doesn't understand that, hey, things are a little bit different than the way you're writing it down there. I don't understand why, if you understood that the contract was different, it was target contacting, why you would then contact. Is there a conscious decision there, or is this just laziness and understanding that you don't want to say anything that might embarrass local politicians? And I think that,
where did the word
clearly
actually
there's
come from? He just made this up, this actually. And there are differences between the two things. One of them, there's three things. Okay, one of them is, I will contact people. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
One hopes that he's capable of doing that. The other is, I'm going to think about contacting people, which is target. And then the third one
Yeah.
is, I will actually contact people. This is really different. And for a guy that makes his living by writing, I don't buy the idea he doesn't see any difference among these three things.
Yeah. I kind of wonder if he is just taking dictation from the commissioners, if they're sending him some sort of a press release about, especially something that's happening in the back room where he rarely attends. And then what's really odd is he has been at the weekly business session a number of times when, there was some eventful things took place there, and why he doesn't say anything. And there's nothing in the Courier about that. I guess he reports sometimes. Does he report when somebody, gets a raise or
No.
gets some proclamation because they were working there for?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And people appointed, he's hot and heavy, this is Jim Moore from the Courier, on when someone gets appointed to a commission. Whew. Be still my heart.
Yes.
Okay,
Gotta
play the
make a
next
big
one,
deal.
would you there, bud?
Alrighty.
This is Dale Matthews, editor of BadCounty.com. When Moody's investigated the financial viability of Josephine County last week, Simon Hare told them that he and the commissioners are fiscally conservative. But we have plenty of evidence that that's absolutely not true. Boy, do we get in trouble when we prove that they're lying again.
You got in trouble again?
Yeah, they don't like this kind of thing, and they would really prefer that we just, haven't I made it clear to you, I would really prefer that you just roll up and die. I mean, really, this is... They've made it amply clear that this is just not right. And they've got supporters in the community that say, this is terrible, you're wasting our time. 3 minutes. You're wasting our time with these questions that you ask of government. Really? Are you such a... what's that word? It's not synchronize, and it's not sympathizer. It sounds like that. It's such a person that bows down to authority. Really?
Sycophant.
Yeah, you're such a sycophant that you can't even tolerate a question. There have been times when I've been the only questioner, the only person in the audience besides government employees. That has been it's changed recently, but there have been times when I was the only one. And I got up to ask a question or to clarify something or to use their cameras against them. And I've been criticized. Oh, you took over the meeting. I took over the meeting? In 3 minutes?
It's funny, Rika Brown never gets accused of taking over the meeting when she wants to ramble on for 3 minutes about litter or something of that nature. Nothing wrong with picking up litter, but, it takes her about the same amount of time. What we're talking about here is tone. And it's interesting that people make judgments on tone, and they don't delve into the substance at all. They don't analyze it. They don't check to see, well, is that true what he said? Or am I just going to make a blanket judgment of this guy because I don't like the way he sounded? And a lot of people do that, and I would urge you to delve a little deeper.
Well, the other thing that's happened is over a period of time, I get people to say to me, have you ever considered, I had this happen once, have you ever considered getting up to the podium and asking him a question at a weekly business session? I never thought about that. That's a pretty good idea. So I've had people ask me just about every kind of question because they just don't know. So there was a period of time there where people were saying, well, why don't you try not being so demonstrative in the way that you talk, Dale Matthews. So I did.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, I just have a question for you. I would like to ask, why did you take the money and misspend it? And it was just like that the whole time. I tried it for 3 weeks in a row. And I got criticized. It's not as funny as it could be. Oh, why don't you speak up or something? No, I got criticized for being too tough on them.
What? That's
It's
funny.
true. It's
So,
true.
well, I mean, I guess the only thing that you could do that would be less emphatic would be you could walk up with little 3x5 cards with your message written on them,
Oh,
and
that would
but
be
they're
illegal.
all,
Oh, we haven't had a
yes,
chance
you
to.
would.
We haven't had a chance to review those. We haven't had a chance to listen to your
Yes.
recording, like that guy that came up and it was anti-abortion guy. Well, aren't we all? But he was, a little further than some people, and he wanted to play a bell tolling. We cannot allow you to play that bell tolling because we haven't reviewed it. A bell tolling.
Yes.
Now, when I go over the top for some people or say things in a demonstrative way that they don't like, it's usually because I'm just trying to be a little bit entertaining and a little bit funny as I try and fail every day on this show to be just a little bit funny. That's the only reason. And I've got 3 minutes. And now if you can be funny and informative and ask a question in 3 minutes, God bless you, and show me how. I do try. But now I'm going to try in 15 seconds. Play the next one there, would you?
This is Dale Matthews, editor of badcounty.com. When Mark Von Holly told the commissioners that we are perfectly poised on the edge of a warm market prospecting wave, gosh, we've got plenty of evidence that that's absolutely not true. Boy, do we get in trouble when we prove that they're lying to us again.
We're getting in trouble again.
A warm market prospecting wave. We're poised on the edge.
I can't help but getting a mental image of that, of a guy on a surfboard, and of course in very warm water,
He's hanging
on the
10.
front edge of the wave. Yes.
Right, he's like Keith Eck was talking about, that we're hanging on by our fingertips. This guy's hanging 10. We're poised on. Josephine County is poised on the edge of tremendous opportunity. Why, just think about all the things that we've got going for us. It's not that we don't have anything going for us, but please.
Well, isn't it interesting, the similarity in the language being used by Mark Von Holly and also the people who are pushing the levy?
Oh.
Exact same kind of thing. They all have these special buzzwords that they use, a bridge to, a bridge of trust. Yeah, that's what it is. And, things like that. Same sort of thing. Warm market prospecting. Is that what it was?
Warm market prospecting wave. And we saw this also from that not the principal but the superintendent, that the confidential cubby for that six-year-old was also confidential cubby was an enhanced learning environment. You gotta be kidding me! An enhanced learning environment? What?
Yes.
That's when you know, all right. Now, you hear this all the time from the levy guys, and we're telling you, okay, we got the facts, we got the figures, but we're not trying to tell you that this is a bridge between here and the ultimate prosperity. Oh, please.
Yeah. No, I wonder, I mean, did they focus group this stuff? And, I understand that when you're standing on a street corner, we've all seen these, man on the street interviews where they ask people who the first president was, and they haven't got a clue. I'm assuming.
Oh, wait a second. I'll give you $1 if you could tell me who the first president is, and it's a dollar bill with his picture.
Yes, I mean that's just it's silly, but I'm just wondering. Are the people that they're targeting the same kind of stupid people that they find in these interviews? I mean, is that what they think? Because, bridge of trust and warm market prospecting wave and things like that is just kind of no.
I don't like the idea of being manipulated by this. Really, I don't. Yeah. I mean, at least this guy doesn't try to manipulate you. He may not always tell the truth, but you can. I mean, this is raw, Keith Eck. I'm going to tell you to be quiet because I'm making it up. Okay, go ahead, have it your way. And we're not doing that to you, but they're trying to. It's very much like what happens with on Keijo. When they're on Keijo, we did that rather lengthy show last night, rather lengthy, and the host guy is also prompting him and say, well, this will really be good for the community, and how many ways will it? What kind of question is this? And how many ways is it going to be prosperous for the community? Really? Play the next one, would you, Mike?
This is Dale Matthews, editor of BadCounty.com. School Superintendent John Higgins tried to say that forcing a 6-year-old to sit behind a cardboard wall during lunch was not isolating him. We could see for ourselves that's absolutely not true. Boy, do we get in trouble when we prove that they're lying to us again.
Yeah, apparently this Don Higgins guy and also Mark Van Holly aren't very happy with me. Really? Yeah, because they don't like being singled out for telling us a bunch of ridiculous lies.
Ooh-wee.
I mean, that's what they are. I mean, you could say, oh, well, it's a misstatement. Really? A confidential cubby?
Yeah.
Who makes this stuff up?
I mean, is this what they call it amongst themselves, amongst teachers and principals and stuff like this? Oh, let's put them in the confidential cubby.
Yeah, but what does cubby mean? Cubby is short for cubby hole. Well, they don't want to say, let's put him in the hole.
Right.
That's what it is.
That is what it is. Put him in the box. Yes.
The Skinner box. For those.
Yeah. You can't help but have the image of somebody coming out of the box after a month or something like that, dripping with sweat and 30 pounds lighter.
And that's why then the motto above the school says Arbeit macht frei. Okay, work will make you free. For the history fans who knew a little bit about Buchenwald and those places. Yeah, right. That's way over the top. But just don't give us a whole bunch of bull. He would have been so much further if he had just been a human being, but he just couldn't do that. And most of the Levy supporters can't do. I'm not saying all, but most of the Levy supporters, the top Levy supporters, they can't do that. The best part about us voting, now we're going to need to vote. You vote any way that you want to. The best part about this is we're very likely to say goodbye to Scott Draper and his wife. Because after they lose this one and all that $25,000 plus that they've spent on this thing, some of them, well, they're going to change characters. It's going to be musical chairs. They're going to do it again. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely they're going to do it again. Yeah, but maybe we won't have to listen to this kind of stuff again because they just don't. I mean, just when I thought that they were starting to sort of get one of the points when I was at one of their meetings, and they allowed me to talk, I said, it's about trust. And there were several people in the room that, yeah, it really is about trust. And I had people come up to me, yeah, it's about trust. It's about trust in the county commissioners. Yeah, that's one of the reasons they said to Keith Heck, we don't want you to be involved in this. And he's very upset about that. This guy is really angry that they don't want him to be involved with the levy. And I said, so it's about trust in the commissioners. I just don't have it. And Linda Draper says, you don't trust, this guy is the enemy. Because they don't trust the commissioners. Well, that's who's running their campaign.
Right. Yeah, and that's important to know that's who's running it. And to some people that may not mean anything, but and it's just like you said, not everybody in this levy operation is a contemptible person.
No.
Some of them are just, they're on board because they really do want public safety funding, and they think this is the means to that end.
I want public safety funding. It reminds me, I'm fond of analogies, you'd never know that. It reminds me of that movie where that big luxury ship turns upside down, the Poseidon Adventure. Okay, and at one point they're going through, they're trying to make it to the bottom of the boat because the whole thing is upside down. And they see this cabin guy, purser, whatever. They see this authority from the ship, and he's got, about 30 people following behind him. They all look like ghosts. because they're soon going to be, right? And
Yeah.
and they're going downhill, and they're
Yeah.
following this guy. Well, it's not that they don't have leadership; they're just going the wrong direction.
That's right. Yeah. Oh well.
You just gotta, you gotta bless them. Well, I'm so glad that you're volunteering to help the community. You're leading them in the wrong direction. Can't you see that? Think about it for a second. No, we're going to go this way because help will soon be here. At the bottom of the boat, it's now the bottom. These guys can't see that.
Yeah. I just think that many people think, as with education, that if it isn't working, that throwing more money at it is the fix. And and of course we know with education that doesn't work either, because we spend way more than we did 20, 30 years ago on education per student, and it doesn't help at all. If you money ain't it. So in this particular case, money would help the sheriff's department to do what it is that the sheriff's department does, but is it going to get you more and better public safety? That's an entirely different thing, and I don't think many people make that connection.
Well, it's really hard to shake off some of the impressions that we have. I had the impression, until we've seen the latest numbers, that crime probably was going up in our community. Obviously, people have voted. They must be satisfied with the amount of crime that they have. Okay, I think it's just about right. I'm going to vote for that amount of crime. But even I'm having some trouble shaking that off and saying, wait a minute, crime is going down. Crime is going down.
Yeah.
And when we talked with the sheriff about that, he was kind of like, well, it's people's perception. Sheriff, it's their perception?
Yeah, well, it is their perception, but the odd thing is that he says, well, it's their perception, so let's just go with it. And is it that he's saying, let's just go with it because that's how we get our money, or maybe after we get some money, these people will feel like they're safer, and that'll solve the whole problem? He can come out and announce, yes, we're safer now, and everybody will go, yay, we're safer now.
Yeah, there's a couple of problems with that argument. One is government never gets enough money, and so they're never going to say we're safer now. It's like, do you remember back in the days when we were having those alerts? There was a green alert, a yellow alert, a red alert, an orange alert. Yeah. Well, how come it never dropped down to green?
Right, yes.
They're never going to say, oh, everything's fine now. The only time they say everything is fine, we covered it in one of the earlier ads, is when they're talking with Moody's. And so here, why do they want a good credit rating from Moody's? So they can borrow money. Borrow money? What, are you insane? And so they talk to Moody's and they tell them, things look pretty good for the levy. They do? Well, if Moody's comes and only talks with Simon Hare, what is he going to tell them?
Right.
Play the next one, would you?
It's looking good.
This is Dale Matthews, editor of badcounty.com. Cheryl Walker says the $600,000 software problem is not really a problem. The company has just changed the types of programs they make. If that's true, then why are they bidding on the new version? Boy, do we get in trouble when we prove they're lying to us again.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Yeah, her argument doesn't make any sense. She just says this stuff because it sounds good. And then you go, no, wait a minute. That can't possibly be true. She said in one half of her paragraph that these guys are now making a different kind of software. They're not doing this anymore. But we'll put it up for bids, and they'll be bidding on it. Now, how the heck can they bid on it when they don't make that kind of software anymore?
Yeah, or wait a minute.
It's not true.
If they had software that actually worked for this function, why didn't they say, hey, well, since our other software failed you, why don't you just start using this software and we can just make a seamless trade-off? Why didn't that happen?
Well,
Well,
talking about seamless trade-offs, this is very similar to when this is one of the only times when my experience over a little period of time is somewhat helpful because there are connections. Okay, Mike is the guy that sees it through the impression of everybody that knows a bit, but maybe not everything. I see it through the impression, through the lens of somebody that's some kind of dang know-it-all and has been around for a while. Okay, so when the chief financial officer, Rosemary Paget, who I think was the source of a lot of our problems here in this county, see the fact that she was the person in charge of the finances for the Demick Tower when the Demick Tower went over $100,000 over budget, and Jim Moore of the Courier doesn't want to write anything about that. Okay, I'm getting too far afield. So brownfield, for those who know. Okay, so when she was leaving office, she was trying to tell people that she's arranged it so that everything was going to be seamless transfer, everything was going to be great. Don't worry about it, everybody. Go back to sleep. It's all going to be great. And I'm going to be leaving, and Arthur O'Hare's taking over, and you're not even going to notice a difference. Okay, if that's the case, then why didn't we do this 5 years ago? Because when she leaves, she had touted this as a wonderful thing. We're going to save $50,000 a year. Now, okay, so when you put those two things together, you say, wait a minute, we could have saved $250,000 if you had retired 5 years ago because it's going to be seamless. We're going to get the same services, and we're going to get it for $50,000 a year less.
I think I better sleep on this.
Really seamless. It's going to be seamless, and look at how much money you're going to save. Then why didn't we do this a long time ago?
Well, because it's government. That's my personal opinion. I'm the radical here who thinks the government rarely does anything right or in an economically prudent manner.
Let's play the next one.
This is Dale Matthews, editor of BadCounty.com. Cheryl Walker says the $600,000 software provider has already been replaced by a new and less expensive company. But neither one of these claims is true. Completely false. Boy, do they get in trouble when we prove they're lying to us again.
Well, it's about time it's their butt on the hook. I was like, hey, I'm getting tired of this.
She just makes things up. This is a problem. She just makes it up.
Boy, I wonder if she believes it when she's saying. She must, I guess she must, but
she thinks we already have another company. How can she think we already have another company? She's a liaison to that department. She can't think that we already have another company. We don't. But she told people like KJO, yes, we do.
Well, maybe she thinks, okay, I'm going to tell them this, and by the time this becomes common knowledge or something, we will have done it. And
no, that's like.
Or maybe.
Go ahead.
Or maybe she doesn't think that you are listening to the program. Maybe that's it.
Now wait a minute. If it's going to be seamless and we can save $50,000, why didn't you do it before? Okay, yeah. Well, nobody's thinking this through. It sounded good at the time. Well, we've got another company already. And Chuck Benson, that ace reporter, says, "Well, we'll be saving a lot of money, won't we?" Yeah, probably. No,
sure,
we're not going to be saving a lot of money. Chuck, shut up.
Yeah, we have to go acquire another software program for God knows how much money. But no, you know what? That was actually a pretty profound point, that if you weren't listening, or agents of the Bad County sphere there weren't paying attention to that program, this never would have been brought up. In other words, Dale, because of the fact that he knows what's going on, he goes to all of these meetings. Because of the fact that that happens, and he reports on what is and is not so, this is the only reason why you know this. And this is sad, because if people in the community were more knowledgeable about what's happening in county government, they'd be able to make these calls themselves. And that's kind of the goal, isn't it?
Well, I've said many times, it's just too bad in this city, in this county, that we don't have a newspaper.